So welcome everybody. We're very honored and pleased, happy to have all of you here. So let the meeting begin as our protocol. Let's start that. We'll have the roll call.
At what time?
Oh, yes. We started at 7:04. So everybody's, we are so happy to see all of you in our meeting today, and we'll have a very fruitful, productive discussion resulting up in some good destinations and a good direction as well. So first we'll have the roll call. This is Chair Panda, yay. Chair
Janki Chokshi.
Lilian Zhao.
Jinghe.
Wonderful.
And Commissioner Srikanth or Vice Chair Srikanth is absent today.
Right, miss. Thank you. So after our roll call, we'll have the approval of minutes from our last session. So I can make a motion for that. That we had a very useful discussion, resulting in some agenda, some discussion, some decisions. So who would like to second?
I would second it.
Okay. Any questions? Anything about the last session, Chair? Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect.
All in favor?
Aye.
And then 1%. And 1 abstain.
Yeah, abstain, because I'm not in the meeting.
So let's start the discussion, our meeting. First, we have oral communications, and we have a speaker today requesting for some time. So we would like to invite Ms. Toby Levitt to please present her viewpoint.
Oh, thank you. Hi, my name is Toby Levitt.
You need to move over so that you can be seen on the camera.
Is that what you would prefer?
Actually, yeah, if you just want to stand up front right there, that would be great.
Okay.
And I know that's not what I told you before.
No worries. We're creative folks. We should be able to adapt.
That's great.
Is that better?
Sure.
That's so
Okay.
sweet. That's so nice. I appreciate it.
Excellent. I'm still bringing my notes in case I forgot anything.
Sure.
Because even though I speak in front of folks, usually I've memorized my lines, not today. So my name's Toby Levitt. I'm with the San Francisco Shakespeare Festival. We've been bringing free Shakespeare in the park to Memorial Park since 1995. We almost didn't have the performance here last year, and then the City Council was able to add us back in, and we performed Cymbeline last year, which was great. And then it almost didn't happen again this year, and this time many community members came together to help replace the funds that the city could no longer allocate. So I feel a responsibility and an appreciation and a gratitude to make sure that we are seen as a resource, and to personally invite you to come to Free Shakespeare in the Park. We're going to be doing The Tempest this summer. One of the local heroes who stepped forward to help out was the Cupertino Library Foundation, so we're deeply grateful for that. We also perform a 1-hour Shakespeare on tour performance in this very library every year, so I'm gesturing because we were down in that immediately below here room about 6 weeks ago with As You Like It. So I just want to make sure that y'all come, and if there's a way that we can leverage event and collaborate, and find ways of working together, because we all are working towards the same goals of, making art and literature part of the community here. So that's what I came to say. Jackie has my phone number and emails if we want to follow up. I will be visiting the Teen Commission soon, and I just look forward to collaborating and putting faces with names. Thank you.
That's awesome. I just have one question.
Any
So you have the venue as this location library. The performance will be here, right?
So the 1-hour performance that we do in schools and libraries has already come. The next Free Shakespeare in the Park performance will be at Memorial Park. And it's going to be the last 2 weekends in July and the first weekend in August. And that is a bigger production that wouldn't fit in this space probably. And also if we had maybe 150 people at the As You Like It performance here, which was lovely, I think you will have more like 800 or so, or depending on the weather, at the Memorial Park. So, and this production that we do here is 1 hour long. The one that we do outside is 90 minutes long. The one that we do here in the library has 5 actors. The one that we do in the park will have 9. So it's all Shakespeare. It's just how much.
Wonderful, great. So, what's the way we can help you as a library team?
We'd love to have you help get the word out. We'd love to have you come. But I'd also love to think, we're really trying to think about ways that we can, like I said, collaborate. Is there a commission seat that will be coming open, and can we help publicize that for this commission? Is there a contest or something that we can leverage the event to give visibility to? So we want to make sure that we're thinking about just where our goals overlap. As I said, happy to have people come, but also just thinking, more deeply, more collaboratively about how we can partner and say, if our shared mission is about providing access, then where are the ways? Consider this a first in-person conversation. Perhaps we can have more.
Perfect.
I have some questions. Do you have flyer, information flyer?
Not yet, but I will.
Okay. Yeah.
And the library actually is always really good about putting postcards out, and there'll be a big banner off of Stevens Creek. But if people are willing, I can also send that along electronically as we get a little closer. So
Yeah.
it's June. Yeah, it's about 7 weeks from now.
Yeah, that will be easy for us to post on the community.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
And the social media as well, of course. There'll be Eventbrite's, Facebook events, that kind of thing.
What time is the performance?
6 o'clock,
6 o'clock.
7:30.
Oh, okay.
And I think the Rotary Club is going to do sell snacks before the show. I think that's going to be one of their contributions in addition to the support they've offered.
Wonderful. Great.
Thank you.
Looking forward to it. Thank
Thank
you.
you so much. I'll see you there.
Thank you. Awesome. So that was the first oral communication. Now we'll come to our written communication, but there's no written communication. So we'll go to new business. So the first subject we'll be introducing today is Cupertino Library Services feedback from teen commissioners. So welcome, teens, to Library Commission.
Have the teams come and join us in the seats up here. And if you can give us your name before you speak, that would be great. Not every time, just the first time.
Okay, should we, before speaking, should we just introduce ourselves?
Yeah. Okay, I'll start. So I'm Sudisha. I'm currently a junior at Monte Vista High School, and I'm serving the Teen Commission. This is my second year.
I'm Shivika Deswari. I'm a freshman at Monte Vista, and this is my first year serving as a teen commissioner.
Well, my name is Pranav Gupta, and I'm a sophomore at Monte Vista, and this is my second year as a teen commissioner.
Great, welcome to Library Commission. So what brings you here and how can we be of any help to you? We would love to know what you're doing and how we can collaborate.
Well, I think that we invited them here to give feedback on library services. And so
Perfect.
hoping
Yeah,
the commission
sure.
has questions for them
Sure.
specific to
Yeah,
library services.
that will be great. Yeah.
So to start, I'll just talk about my experience with the library in general. I mainly come here to do studying and test prep with a group of people because it gives me a good collaborative environment instead of just doing it on Zoom or Google Meet, as it's more difficult to learn without that face-to-face communication. And then I occasionally come here to check out books as needed for school or just my hobby of reading.
Great. Is there any way that you think we can be of help or improvement? I mean, can we improve our services in any way?
Currently, I think the book system is pretty streamlined. The way to get books, holds, checkouts, they work pretty well, and any issues are usually addressed by the staff. I think that the only kind of concern I've sometimes had, which isn't that big of a scale of an issue, is when I come here for finals or test prep during December or June, it's pretty crowded some days, especially that room, the glass room where teens should study. So maybe more space there, or maybe a room that's kind of filled with ways to de-stress when people need breaks from their study.
And then just a reminder, everybody can speak up as loudly as possible. That would be great.
So my experiences are very similar to his, especially during AP season or final season. This would kind of be my destination where I hang out with friends, and we study and look over material together. So whenever we're doing that, that's usually not in the teen room, just because sometimes we find, I think this is the thing with a lot of other teams, is that we find that space, there isn't a lot of space, and sometimes it can get pretty noisy in there. So we often just go outside of the teen room, and sometimes in the individual rooms where it's much more quieter. So we found that to be generally more helpful. But besides that, everything else seems pretty good.
So my experience with the library is that I've been coming to the library since I was very little. And as a teen, I've participated in some of the events. So especially during the summer, there was like a bag making thing. And so I did that. And I was able to meet a lot of other teens, and that was great. In terms of what both Sudisha and Pranav just said, I think the teen room can get especially crowded, right? So maybe having some more space. And then just a suggestion would be if we could have more opportunities, just like having events specifically for teens to gather and study, especially like freshmen studying with freshmen for a certain class. I think that would be a great idea. And then I know that high schoolers are also looking for volunteering opportunities, and I know that the library does offer that. But another idea could be having teens teach young children, right, on a certain subject. So I guess just providing more opportunities for volunteer hours, and then also just allocated study sessions.
That is very, that's great. Those are great feedback. So one question, Brian, for teens or for any teacher to take any class or any coaching session, is there a minimum requirement of age or qualification?
So currently we do have it's out of session right now, but we do have a volunteer homework tutoring that anyone, I believe 14 and older, can sign up for. There's an entire training process that they go through. But again, sometimes there's a limitation in how many we can take, and we have a lot of eager teens who are always signing up and ready to go. And the challenge is finding something for them to do sometimes. It's such a busy library, and it's such well-loved and well-used.
Will the increasing the quiet room areas will help the teens to study during the APs?
So usually during the final seasons that we're aware of in the area, what we'll do is we'll book out this room that's normally for programs, and we have the tables out with chairs as expanded space for the teens or anybody else really to come in and use, because we know around that time it gets really tight with folks. But again, unfortunately, it comes down to there's just more people who want to come in than sometimes we have seats for. And I think it's a wonderful problem to have at a library, but it is a bit of a challenge that we're trying to figure out how to address. We've got some ideas knocking around. We're hopeful that we can find a little bit more wiggle room to find you guys space during that time.
Did you have any data, like the last final season? How many weekend sessions those two spaces are available for teams to study? And
like in terms of how much time we make available? Yeah, I mean, we book it out through the entire day during the actual weekend. Usually, after school hours is what we do. Because again, the teens are in class during the morning, so we don't do that. And while we don't keep track of how many people come in specifically into the room, we can see the bump in foot traffic in the library itself during those times where you see a little spike in the amount of people coming through the space.
I see.
I have a question about the tutor. The student want to teach the young student, right? So you mentioned we already have some program, right? So it's organized by the library, right?
That's correct.
Okay. So that means probably you can work with that program, and that one already be established. Right. I remember when my kids were young, they just after school, after my house, they just directly go to the Calabash library, and there is after school program. It's very organized. I think there is adult and some teenager. They send in, send out. You know, they just it's volunteer. So I get a lot of feedback, my kids, you know, because we are our work. Nobody take care of the kids, so they just directly go to the library, and it's very organized. It's last a few years. A lot of parents love that program. So probably, you know, you can work with the library program and thinking something, you know, like that.
Yeah, that's
Also, if you could give us the feedback about what kind of events or what kind of events or what kind of activities would you like as a teen commission to be participating in? So if you could give us brief idea about what kind of activities would you like to participate besides what we already have.
Great point. To add to that, if anything you believe can be organized in library out of your agenda of programs, we always welcome. We can talk to Brian and work it out together. Also, I will request you to be our ambassadors for teen, for youth, for your classmates. It's just not you, but be a bridge between the community and us to know how and where we can improve. So, I mean, you're always welcome to our meetings, or you can always write to us, and we'll try to follow and implement as many as possible from your suggestions. So.
And then just a reminder that as commissioners, you guys are always welcome to attend the teen commissioners meetings to seek feedback from them, where you get the whole commission in front of you, which is great.
Oh, perfect. That will be great. I know that. Surely we'll make utilize use of that opportunity. Perfect. So thank you very much. Is there anything else you want to tell us?
I just, actually brought a very good point. I know the quiet study area was something we worked so hard to, that's actually this probably part of that effort to provide more space. But I think you brought a very good point of de-stress, and I'm just wondering, how that, in your visions, how library can help or provide what kind of environment to help teens to de-stress. I think right now the stress level for Silicon Valley kids are extremely high. And library actually, in a way, could be a good place for them to study by themselves, study with peers, instead of, some parents, including myself, could add more stress to the kids. So, can you provide some recommendations, like, what kind of area you're looking for? For example, like, I'm just throwing on the table, right? There are some bean bags in the teen rooms, right? Are those will make you more comfortable to stay, or like, adding, I don't know if we have more space, in the teen room area, can adding more like those kind of bean bags. And just to provide recommendations, like on top of my head, instead of, tables and chairs, like for those temporary study space, how it's set up, then it will help you focus and de-stress.
So I think it's a very good question. So a few ideas I would have is, usually in the library, it's a place where you have to be quiet.
Yes.
Other people are going to read, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So having a room or some space where you can talk louder, you can just socialize with friends, have a little laugh, hang out, have some fun, and then go back to do your thing, do your studying. And the beanbags is, as you brought up, it's a good idea. It'd be like a little kind of fun way to just relax, just do something different than just sitting on your chair and just kind of typing on a computer, as well as just kind of items that help people come there and de-stress. So what I've seen at some other events is that they have a ping pong table, a table tennis table, for example. I don't know how feasible that would be depending on the number of people that come to try to use that. But a few tables set up where people could just have a rally, have some kind of fun, a way to move their arms around a little bit, should be a good way for them to de-stress.
So what I was thinking about is that our school actually has something called a wellness room, and in that wellness room there's a space for people to sit, and then there's tons of other mental health resources for them as well. So I don't know if we'll be able to afford a room necessarily, but maybe creating a wellness corner in the teen space with the beanbag chairs. It doesn't necessarily need to be a specific room, but having that space within another space that we're familiar of, that could, I feel like that could be something feasible to work on.
Yes, and then just adding on, maybe having events where teens can just de-stress at the library, get to meet with teens, especially during midterm season, during final season. That would be incredibly great. Or even at the beginning of the school year, so that teens can just de-stress, and then maybe also meet other teens in the room.
I believe, in addition to de-stressing, also communicating, socializing, meeting, making friends. We always think about library as academics, ambition, goals, but we forget that they also need so many other resources to grow, to combine, to bond together. So Brian, I'm not sure if we have any program of games or some like Catan or something that puts together all kids together, all teams to in a bonding mode.
I can certainly discuss it with Matt more. Matt's our team librarian. He does a fantastic job of bringing these different types of programs that you guys enjoy here. But I think if you guys have those kinds of suggestions, maybe we can put you in touch with Matt so that he has, and again, I know he's great for talking with the teens that do come to the events, but sometimes maybe it's kind of like preaching to the choir. Those who are already coming to the programs, we hear from them, and we keep doing programs that make sense to them, but we need to broaden out to talk to more teens who may not be coming to those programs to see what else we can add to the list of things we do here.
Yeah, I just wanted to add on. I know that the library has a lot of great events already, but I feel like they're not as advertised to teens sometimes. So sometimes my friends are like, oh, I wish I could have an event where I could do some crafts with my friends, right? They would go outside to look for a place they could do that. But I know that the library already offers events like those, right? So maybe advertising those events to teens, showing them this is already what's accessible, right? That would also be a great way to get more teens to be engaged in the library.
And just coming from me, what do you feel like is the best way for the library to be able to reach teens?
I feel like either through the school, through school emails, but then I would say social media. That's definitely the best way. And I had to choose one platform, it would have to be Instagram, since I know almost all teens are on that. So that's just.
Thank you.
That's a good suggestion, because I know that those craft events in the library usually during daytime more target actually towards seniors instead of teens, school age kids and or working class. So I think maybe, and those events sold out, register not sold out, full. Very, very quickly. It's like almost the moment posted, and it's gone within very short time. And those are very popular. De-stress, but actually, I think that's a good suggestion for teens to have a 1 hour session. Go with friends, make clay or knitting or whatever. It's a great way to do something else to de-stress. Mental health is an important issues for teens, particularly in Cupertino area. Thank you.
Thank you so very much. I appreciate really all the input, all suggestions. We'll continue. It's just a starting point, so we'll keep discussing in our next meetings that we build upon every suggestion that you give it to us, and talk to other people also, bring new ideas more than what we can think about it. So thank you.
Let us know where we can pitch in, and then we can collaborate with you guys.
And I actually have talked to Sonia, who's the liaison for the Teen Commission, and we talked about the idea of potentially doing a joint meeting with maybe the Library Commission and the Teen Commission in the future, so that we can seek feedback and be a little bit collaborative.
That's excellent. That's perfect.
For next year.
Yes, that's a great idea, Molly, and wonderful. So should we go to the next one now? Are we okay?
Yeah, thank you guys so
Thank
much
you.
for coming.
Thank you so much. So following up after our teen commissioners' feedback, we invite our senior advisory council.
Yeah, right. Okay. Then just watch your step right here. You guys don't have to say if you want to. Other things you'd like to do?
Great. So the next item.
You're welcome to, but don't have to. There's no pressure.
Okay, here's my props.
Welcome, ladies. So now we'll discuss now and receive feedback from Senior Advisory Council President on Cupertino Library Services for Seniors. Thank you for being with us here today.
So you ladies would like to introduce yourselves?
Thank you and welcome we welcome the opportunity. My name is Jean Bedord, and the next slide will give you my credentials. With me is Kathy Stakey, who has been very active in the library for I don't know how long. With Friends of the Library, the Active Commission, and she just knows the library inside and out. Okay, let's go on to the next one. And let's talk a little bit about what is the purpose of the Cupertino Senior Advisory Council. And you'll see it's very general. It covers a lot of different activities. And most importantly, what we're trying to do is listen to our members and promote the Senior Center itself, as well as senior services in the community. And that becomes increasingly important. Now, I've given here my credentials. You can tell my roots are deep in the library world. And I've been here some time. And I was actually a library commissioner when we built the new library here.
Wow.
And I think, frankly, a lot of the support that the library gets here in Cupertino is a direct result of the outreach that we did for building this initial building. Because we did things like the Highway 85 opening, we had a parade, we had the bookmobile out there, and it was just gratifying to see people cheering on the bookmobile. Now, more recently, I am focused more on senior matters. And as you can tell, that's what this is all about. But let me highlight one thing in here in particular. I am the Cupertino representative for SourceWise, which is the county agent, Santa Clara County Agency on Aging. And they provide a tremendous number of services. And it's simply a huge program that a lot of people are not that aware of. So let's go on to the next one and talk a little bit about what the Senior Center itself is. Anyone can join the Senior Center provided you're at least 50 years old, which covers a lot of people in Cupertino. A third of the Cupertino population is over the age of 50. We are an aging community. And what we find is that Cupertino, to a certain extent, is still stuck at thinking it's a community of young people, of families. And so there's a lot of emphasis on children's programs as well as teen programs. But they seem to have forgotten that a lot of for a third of the population, chances are they don't have a child in the household. And so it's a different set of needs. And then what I've done is listed up here the different types of activities and programs that we have. There is you're probably familiar with the Parks and Recreation catalog, which is delivered to every single household in Cupertino. And inside that is a section called the 50+ scene. Now, we used to have a separate newsletter that was just senior center members. And with the budget cuts, it was incorporated into the general catalog, which in some ways I think has been positive, because that way it goes to everybody in the community instead of just the senior center members. Now, it does not have everything because there's a page limit. And so they will highlight the ones for that particular session. This comes out 4 times a year, 1 for each season. Now, okay, let's go on to the next one. Oh, before we go on, one of the things, let me point out on the previous slide, we have technology assistance. And this takes the form of several types of activities, one of which is classes. You actually sign up for a class, and it can be on how to use your iPhone or something, something very specific, or how to upload photos. We have excellent instructors. But in addition to that, we have informal networking, where there are, okay, at 10 o'clock we've got, talk technology, and you can bring in your device and say, I don't know how to do this, or I want to learn how to do this. And I am convinced that senior to senior learning is probably most effective. No offense to the teens, but a lot of times you don't understand what the little barriers are to our using technology. And it's worked out beautifully. Now, in addition, this summer, there's going to be a program called Techie Teens. And it'll be interesting to see how that works out. I know at one point, the library tried to have an equivalent of a Genius Bar, and it just didn't work particularly well. But this is a different approach. We're very clear that we need, that our older adults need help with the technology. That's a theme that comes up again and again. The question is how best to deliver that assistance. Okay, let's go on to the next one. Now, about a year ago, the city commissioned a study called the Community Assessment Survey for Older Adults. It's a national survey, or let's put it this way. It has been given in like 320 different communities across the US. So we have benchmarks to find out how we compare. But in particular, this was a survey of older adults in Cupertino, that 1/3 of the population that's over the age of 50. And then the report that came out was analyzed by different domains. And the library is not really involved in most of these, but in particular, your business is information and assistance. And that's what I'm going to focus on now, because that's where you can really help our community. There are some very interesting findings coming out of this. What is one of the biggest problems? Not knowing what services are available to older adults in your community. That 71% is shocking, actually. The second one, 50% don't have, having inadequate information about Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid. Again, these are basic that I would, to the older adults in our community. And then here is an emerging area, which is caregiving. 1/3 of our sample were providing caregiving to someone, to an older adult. And I know in talking with my friends, and certainly I'm sure with you with Kathy, caregiving is a huge issue. We just don't have enough people to be able to provide that level. And as we age, we need more caregiving. And then I found it's feeling your voice is heard in the community. That's an area that we as a city need to work on. Now, where I'm coming from, and I need your assistance, is this next statistic, which is that only 19% of the seniors use our senior center. That doesn't mean belong, that means they come in and use it for something. However, 67% come to the library. Our library is well loved. So We need your help in getting the word out. Now, this last one, I was actually surprised at, that the incidence of high-speed internet. We don't have an infrastructure problem. We have an outreach problem. We don't, you've heard a lot about the digital divide. Well, we've got the infrastructure. We just don't have the usage and how do you use it to live your life. So this, like I said, I really did, I was amazed. Now, let's go on and say, so how can you help us? And these are my initial cuts at what I think the library could do to help us. And certainly you may have additional ideas, but you do have current services, and the bookmobile to senior communities is well loved. There are classes which are given at the senior center on like Libyan, ebooks, and everything like this, but you don't promote it here from the library to say, hey, if you want a class on this sort of technology, you can get it at the senior center. My next suggestion is add older adult to your programming categories. Now, I don't know how many of you were around when we used to have library services divided into children's and adult services. And you know what? The teens would not be caught dead in the children's area. But they didn't really fit into the adult area. And that's when the teen programs came into being. Now we need to focus on, let's add older adult, because the information needs of adults in their 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, we have a fair number of people that are 90 plus, 100 plus in our community. So how do we address those needs? Some simple things on your web pages. You don't have the senior center listed as a resource. You don't have West Valley Community Services or Sourcewise listed as a resource. Then the more general one is one that the library needs to address, and I don't have any answers for this, is how can we develop additional approaches to direct the adult library pair to the senior center resources? How do we highlight availability of social services? I'm on Nextdoor, and at least 2 or 3 times a week, somebody will say, I need, they pose a question, and I say, okay, you need to go talk with Project Sentinel. Don't listen to what they're saying on Nextdoor, because they're not authoritative. You need to talk with a legal, or there's SALA, which is legal assistance. And for most of these, they're no charge. The county, the city are already paying for it, but people don't know they're available. Then the other thing is, how can you collaborate with the Library Foundation and Friends of the Library? I don't know how many of you, are any of you members of the Friends of the Library?
No.
See, I've been a member since I first went on a commission, and I'm now on the advisory board for the Library Foundation. So I would suggest that you need to work more closely with these other organizations.
I'm a member for Library Foundation, but not the Friends of the Library. Only one of them. So you ask the Friends of Library.
Now perhaps you can work with them to figure out collaboration. And then in general ways to improve communication with the community regarding available resources. And by the way, I'm taking the same message to our city communications officer, saying, we have a communications problem here. Let's work on different ways of doing it.
Before we go next, may I ask a question, please?
Certainly. How
do we know about because honestly, I'm very ignorant about it. Before we can communicate, how can I learn? Let me put I, not me, maybe they are aware. I'm not aware about the available resources or available services for older adults. How do I educate myself? What is a resource where I can go and read and know more about it?
Well, we actually do have, let's flip this over to the next one. And there is a senior center website, which has the website itself. And then there's resources for seniors. Now, I will be the first to tell you that I think it's inadequate because it's a laundry list, and so you're going, okay, what's 211? What it, and then source-wise, do they talk them, they don't tell you all the different services. And I was really surprised. There were people who didn't know what Meals on Wheels are.
Even we don't know, sorry. I honestly,
Okay, see, then, okay, you see what the problem is.
Right. So here is a suggestion. So maybe this is so elaborate that we get lost. So is it possible for, our respected senior people to come and educate us so that we can communicate to others as well? So can you give us some time, maybe it's in senior center, we can go and join you there. You can, guide not only us, other people as well. What are the resources available? Then not only us, but we can, communicate with all the community that we work with. That will be very helpful.
Okay. I think that's a good suggestion. I'm more than willing to help, provide, this information, and even I don't know all of the resources that are available.
Sure. It's not about being comprehensive, but what are the most popular ones, used ones? You as a community member, as a community leader, what is the best one, top 5, top 10 that everybody should know? We don't have to know everything, but the best ones that everybody should know for sure. That kind.
I think the team is looking for some opportunity for volunteer. Probably, you can work together so they can provide more, from a team perspective, to provide more help. Mm-hmm.
We do have volunteer, there are lots of volunteer opportunities.
Oh, okay.
And if you take a look, if you look here on page, volunteers needed. This is how you contact to help.
Yeah, okay, that's great.
We are looking for class instructors, a walking group leader. They advertise for tech, you had to apply for the techie teens. But it's a matter more of just walking in and talking. And Amanda Way and her phone number is right here. Going, and simply talking. And you can do that on an individual basis, or, the other thing I could do is, offer to, give a little kind of show and tell type of thing. We do have something coming up in the fall. Is it late summer or fall? That's like an introduction to the senior center. And that might be an excellent place to encourage all of you to go. And we can have something set up there with the different resources. Like you said, the top 10 resources, which would be very useful.
Awesome.
And I think one of the interesting things that we're in conversation, or at least I'm in conversation with, is that the people who really need to know what's available in terms of senior are people in their 50s and 60s. They're perfectly healthy. They don't even think about these things. But how many of them have elder parents or friends or relatives, and they need to know what resources are available? I end up, talking, all the time to different people who are saying, we have a problem here. I said, have you considered, contacting this? Oh, I didn't know that was available.
Is there so just a suggestion, can we have this kind of conversation in timely meeting form? Regular meeting would be helpful for us to know their problems, as well as we could pitch in with our suggestions to help them out too.
So on a certain cadence? Have
yes.
them come annually or
yes.
biannually, something on that. And you would also, and I don't know for sure, I'd have to ask Alex, but I assume that if you one or two of you would be able to attend the senior advisory board meetings. I'm not sure the format of those exactly, but.
We're held every other month. It's an open meeting. Therefore, the Brown Act really doesn't apply.
Right, because you guys are.
Because we advertise, it's open, and so, yeah, I think that would be.
The Brown Act would apply for them though, so that's why it's like you would only a couple of them would be able to attend.
Two. I'm not sure because it is an open meeting. By the way, it's not, it's its own organization. We're a separate 501c3.
Right. But if they're there on library commission business, only two of them would need to attend. Otherwise, we'd have to agendize it and it would need to be posted and all.
But we could rotate.
One by
Absolutely.
one. Yeah. So one question: what is the 501c? What is organization? The senior center is a org in itself.
Okay. A 501c3 is a non-profit organization.
Correct.
That I understood. Friends of the Library is a non-profit. Whatever type thing. We have to. You'll laugh. We have to have a separate non-profit organization to be able to offer bingo.
Oh.
Bingo is considered to be gambling, and it is highly regulated. Now, our pots are like $10, but we still have to have the mechanism, and so the advisory council is not a body which is selected by the city council. See, the team commission, you have to go through an interview process and you're selected and you serve for a certain number of terms. It's totally different with a nonprofit. I mean, you kind of have your own ways of doing business. It's not nearly as formal. It's more like the team advisory board, where you have, you're on it for a year and then there's a new cast of characters, essentially.
Interesting.
I was reading Brian, I'm sorry, I have a question. Brian, I was reading like the summer programs, the Cupertino Library, we have mentoring beginners for kids in grade 3 and 8, 3 to 8. We have book club for grade 1 and 2, and we have, book club for grade 7 and 8. So that's actually, tied to Jane's question that I know a lot of adult program actually, the attendees probably in the senior, categories because just the nature of Silicon Valley, even probably at 60 above, not very few afford can attend those business hours. But it's actually, as Jim mentioned, we have 60 plus, 70 plus, 80 plus, 90 plus probably have difficulty come here to the library. So if we have programs, in the low young kids age, very specifically targeting grade 3 to 8, can we have like Jay suggested, have a specific targeted program for 70 plus? Well, 65 plus.
Brian can answer this. They used to have a librarian. Does Eddie still go over there and hold the book club?
Yes, he does.
Yes, so they do have a book club that the library conducts over there.
That's conduct over there, right? Not in the library have or you think the library already have enough senior program, just we needed to help too?
I think it's because they're there anyhow. Many people will go there almost every day, the senior center. So they have it structured that it's a specific day and the hours, and they have a group that are interested in reading a specific book. They have discussion on the book. It's been that way for a number of years. Am I right, Brian?
Yes, that is the case. We do have at the same percentage. And I will comment that in our programs, we do have a specific category for senior adults. However, the funny thing I find about that is almost every time we have the senior adults tag, we also tag adults on it, because again, oftentimes the program may be pertinent to somebody who's taking care of someone like a senior in their family, or they know they're going to be taking advantage of Medicaid soon. So again, we have a tendency to over-tag it, and sometimes I think that makes it seem like there's nothing specific to seniors, even though a lot of our programs are senior-oriented. We just know that there's also a lot of adults who attend as well. But that is an interesting thought to kind of have a little bit more specific category by age, even for adults. So it's something I'll definitely bring back to discuss with our supervising librarian and adult services.
Because another interesting thing I noticed from the survey, only 19% go to senior center, but 67 actually come to the library. So those discussions hold in the senior center. If similar discussions can be held in the library, maybe we'll have a more attendance. Just by looking at the data, it's the only 19%. Right.
The objective is to get more people to the senior center.
I see. Okay.
Because here's the
Not
thing about the senior center that is very crucial is it's a social center.
Okay. Yes.
More so than the library. The library is you get your books, you do your studying, you do all this sort of thing. There are large number of people who come to the senior center because they're lonely. We've got, I didn't include that out there, but we have a lot of people who live alone. And so I don't see the library being a social hub. The senior center is a social hub.
Good point.
And, and people partake of different activities. We have the people who go travel all the time. We have ones who, the bingo people. I'm not a bingo player, but we have people who come every single week, for bingo. We also have special lunches. We're not a nutrition program. We're not big enough. We don't have the space to offer that. But, it's about every other week. There's exercise. And then there's exercise classes. And again, the cost of an exercise class is very reasonable. I mean, something like $10. We're not talking about, here it is. The Apple Assistance class, for example, is $7. The line dance. Now, line dance is a little bit more expensive, but it's very popular. $56.
That's considered expensive. Okay.
So that's part of understanding all the different activities that are there. And more than once I've had people say, I didn't know I could take a class there. I didn't know I could do exercise there. We've got ping pong. We've got a tennis group. We've got a softball group. So it's really connecting people so that they have social interaction.
So you want us to help bring more senior to the senior center? Okay.
May I ask this? I don't know if the bookmobile goes to the senior center, but they do go to at least 4 or 5 of the senior residences in Cupertino. But maybe they should include that, because one of the nice things when they go to the senior centers in the community, not the senior centers, but to the various retirement communities, they will give them their library card without going through all the paperwork because they know they're residents of Cupertino. That's a given. So they just provide some identification and they issue the cards, and then they come weekly, usually, or bi-weekly, and people can check out books. I don't know if they go to the senior center. That may be a good service right there.
Well, I don't think it does go out to the senior center, but that's certainly something we can consider with the Go-Go Biblio and our staff here, and we can provide those same services that she
Many
does.
of our cities do that, Ryan, right? Campbell and some others. We do have staff, actually local library staff that do visit the senior center with materials and can provide that same service.
Yeah. Because I know that most of the senior centers are located near bus stops, and if you talk to some of the folks who are at the senior center, many of them use the bus to get there. There is not a bus that will bring them any closer than Stevens Creek Boulevard, in which case they'd have to walk. I mean, it doesn't sound, to me, it's not a great distance, but for some people, it is a great distance.
Yeah, I didn't touch on transportation, but that's another area that we need to be getting the word out.
And I finally wanted to say that I know when I belonged to some of the other, the foundation and the Friends of the Library, we focused on getting large print books. I don't know if we're still doing it because I haven't been active for the last year, but we really focused on supplementing the large print collection and things of that nature, which some of the seniors really, really relied on.
A very robust collection of large print.
Yeah, I know you do, but I'm just pointing out that I'm pointing out that it's a service that the library is providing, which is of high value to the seniors.
Beautiful.
One question. So in our library website, do we have some link to the senior center?
Yeah, so I think some of these suggestions here are definitely very quick fixes that we can, quick turnaround, like getting it onto our local resource page. And of course, if there are flyers like that from the city, we'd be happy to post it in our community bulletin board area, giveaway area, which is very high traffic, and I think you'll be able to take advantage of that 67% visit and see if we can drive some more traffic your way. One question I did want to bring, again, similar to the teens, how best do you think libraries can reach out to seniors? Because we do have some new fantastic resources that we're trying to spin up and make people aware of, like Eric, our community outreach specialist. He really is very knowledgeable about some of these different resources like 211 and all of these organizations that help folks. And unlike librarians who we can point people towards the correct resources, but we really can't sit down and help them sign up and go through the process. Eric, our outreach specialist, you can book him for an hour and he'll sit down and actually help people through that process. And I think a lot of seniors could take advantage of him as a resource.
Now, is Eric a library employee?
Yes, he is. He's here
at Cupertino Library?
He's here every Tuesday and Thursday, and you can book him for an hour, and based on that first initial interview he has with an individual, he might book you for longer hours because he knows, there's these 3 resources I can help them with. And we're really trying to, again, it's an experiment he just started a couple months ago, and we're trying to spin this up to make people aware of him as a resource. And I think here in this community, the most people he can impact is perhaps the seniors.
Would he be available to go to the senior center on a specific,
That's exactly what
once
I was
a week, maybe?
Yeah.
That's what I was just
maybe as an introduction. Maybe as an introduction.
Mm-hmm. Actually, one of our biggest needs is case management. And this is a form of case management, because that resource page to me is just bare bones, because you need somebody who can say, what's your problem? And then say, I think you should try this, this, and this, or this and this. Because just figuring out which of those resources apply is like alphabet soup. It's overwhelming. It's alphabet soup. We have a caregiving group there, which, and I think that might actually be staffed by source lines. Again, what Alex is doing in the senior center is providing space. We used to have 2 case managers who were actually city employees. And during the pandemic, that all went away. And I don't see, particularly with our current fiscal situation, I don't see those case managers coming back. But we have Avenidas, which comes in. We have West Valley Community Services, which comes in, and we have SALA, which is the legal. We have an HICAP, which is insurance. So I think it would be good to have you set up to be there, because everybody there is a senior. And just feel your way through it to find out, maybe it's another extension of our technology. assistance that we give, or we have available at the senior center. But I think, Molly, that might be something to bring up with Alex about the audit or the possibility.
Yeah, I can mention, I really don't have too much to do with the senior center or the library. I'm just the liaison between the city and the commission.
Okay, I will bring it up with Alex.
It might be more effective.
Perfect.
What is the name of the person?
So it's a community outreach specialist, so they spend time, we have 2 on staff, and they spend time at each of our libraries. So, and the goal really is to connect to services, and we found it to be we just recently expanded it here in Cupertino, but we've had it in South County for about a year and a half now.
Can I suggest to have a yearly visit to the senior center?
I'm sorry, I can't understand it.
Can I suggest to have a yearly visit of that expert to the senior center so that they can get the needed help?
So certainly, Brian and I can take back your recommendations. As I said, the goal around our program is, and certainly we want to help your community of older adults. It's best for us on site, obviously, because they have responsibilities here, but certainly we do outreach. So there we can look at opportunities for introducing Eric, certain days, or we had that same opportunity where our community outreach specialist went to the migrant center down in Gilroy. So again, and then providing people with, again, those avenues and inviting them back to the library or the senior center or other resources. So we can absolutely have that conversation.
Sure. There may be a possibility for the health fair or something along those lines of the senior center host that maybe you would be able to attend and be able to advertise what you're doing.
Absolutely.
Another suggestion is if you can have a class or a session. So I'm aware of very many seniors who are not aware about such things. So we can invite all of them, and Alex can come and train them, guide them, teach them. So one session or regular rhythmic sessions like to grow more about in the knowledge. Adults, older adults, everybody in library also, if they can have a session.
Got to do an event to bring in some senior center people to talk about what they do.
Yeah, because I'm aware of many. Yeah, I know many seniors who might not know these. They're not very highly. Especially the immigrant ones. Those who have been here, they might have some clue, but those who are new, they have no idea. So to train them, to let them know about all the things that can be done, that will also be very helpful for all the other people.
Well, certainly we love building partnerships.
Okay. Thank you very, very much. This was very informative, and we could learn so much from. Really appreciate. Totally, thank you. Thank you.
Anything I can do to help.
Wonderful. And that was our section of discussion from senior.
May I make a comment, please?
Sure.
I wanted to mention to these young ladies, you can see that it's not only you who are out seeking more information so that you can move forward. We are also trying to seek out information so that we can enter the aging period of our lives.
Beautiful, beautiful. That's so very well said. And looking at you, honestly, I see my future in you, and you are happy, and I feel that I'll also be happy when I come to that stage. I'm glad to meet you, girls. Thank you so much. So after discussing with Senior Advisory Council, our next section would be the monthly update reports. Requesting first for the Cupertino Community Librarian. That's Brian.
I'm in perfect position.
Brian, do you want to move over to this?
That could be a little challenging because I also need to. Everything okay? Okay. I'm gonna stick to this side.
We know who's speaking.
I will try to project. That slide is showing. That's good. Good first step. Let's see our slideshow. So here to give the June 2024 report for Cupertino Public Library. As usual, I like to start off with some numbers. We did pretty well in the month of May. Pretty much what we normally expect. We had 103,000 items go out and 106,000 items come in. I'd like to point out we had our second highest gate count in 6 months. And we also have, I believe, the highest amount of online borrower use in the month of May in the past 6 months with 21,165 people taking advantage of those online resources. And also the most room bookings within the past 6 months, 592. So a lot of people taking advantage of all the different rooms and spaces we have here to study, do meetings, all sorts of good stuff. Some photos from events in May. At the top right there, you see we have the composting master come in and talk about composting and gardening. It was a fantastic event, almost 2 hours long, and I know it lasted longer because about half the audience stuck around afterwards to talk to him, and he really had to run out the door afterwards. At the bottom right there was a picture from, actually that's probably the tail end of Free Comic Book Day for the teens. I'm told we handed over 500 comic books out, and again, a big thank you to the Friends of the Library for supporting that. We had, as a part of the AAPI month celebration, ceramic dragon crafts for the kids there, and you can see them hard at work at the bottom left there with the teacher at the top showing them how it's done, and afterwards, we had a small display in our children's program room area before the game and played. So it's a very fun event, and I think a lot of people, especially the ones who didn't get a chance to go, they got to see the results of these programs, and they were very excited to be able to see what was happening at the library and what they could do next. Some other photos, you can see our volunteer appreciation party there at the top, and you can see not all of our volunteers are humans. Our dogs there coming in for our furry friends. So that's a reading program we do with kids who kind of struggle with getting started with reading, and it can be quite intimidating reading to an adult who's sitting there judging you. So we have these great, very patient, very loving pets come in that they can read to get them kick-started. And then I was thinking for the teens and de-stressing, maybe having some pets for you guys to cuddle with around that time. We can certainly go talk to the Furry Friends folks to see if they'd be willing to try that out. We also had the Friendship City Xianing, the art exhibition grand opening at the end of May. Their artwork is on display in our reading room right now, and we had over 70 people attend, including the artists. So it was a fantastic event that just took place on May 31st. June is, of course, summer, the start of summer reading. So for those of you who haven't had a chance to join or just haven't done so yet, do sign up for our summer reading program. We've got great programs for kids, teens, and adults with performers coming in, book clubs, and so many other things going on. There's a prize for signing up, and there's a prize for finishing. So, it's good for everyone of all ages. Definitely come in for what we do here in the library. This is just a quick showing of some of the summer reading programs we have for adults and teens and children's. We had a smartphone photography event just yesterday at 3 p.m. for adults, and we'll be repeating it specifically for teens on Saturday, June 29th. So definitely go check that out, guys, if you want to get some tips on how to take advantage of your smartphones. As I pointed out, we've got plenty of book clubs going on for the kids over the summer, and some things like art therapy for tweens at 4 to help them de-stress and kind of mellow out during these stressful times. Some other things I wanted to highlight that weren't specific to summer reading, but are also kind of fantastic programs we have going on. This summer, with the support of Cupertino Library Foundation, we'll be doing a summer music series in the courtyard every Sunday at 2 p.m. with the exception of, I believe, July 28th. It'll be at noon. We'll have a different musical performance in the courtyard for roughly about 45 minutes to an hour. Our first performers who came in June 2nd, we had 136 people turn out. It was a fantastic event, and I hope to see you all out there. We're going to have shade, so it won't be too hot, hopefully, but there's a lot of great stuff going on. We'll also be doing family movie time almost directly after the music series downstairs in room 101, starting June 23rd through July 28th. Again, that's going to be all Sunday afternoons. We just want to bring the families out for a great time here at the library. June is, of course, also Pride Month, and we'll have plenty of book displays in the libraries on the subject. Cupertino Library will be present during the city's flag-raising ceremony this Friday. And we've got plenty of programs around Pride. You can find that on our website and that link I have there. But here specifically at Cupertino Library, we will be having a Pride dance party at the Cupertino Library on June 9th for kiddos and their families. And we'll have little crafts for them to create, I believe, wands and crowns before they hit the dance floor. So it's going to be a lot of fun. I always like to wrap up my presentations to try to put people in touch with one new library resource perhaps that they were unaware of. Novelist Plus is a fantastic tool, almost like having a reference library in the back pocket if you're looking for your next great read. I'm sure some of you, if not all of you, have gone up to your librarian at one point or another and said, hey, I need to figure out what my next book's going to be. And the first question they'll often ask you is, well, What books did you like? What author do you follow? Who do you like? This tool allows you to input that same information, and it's going to pull up those titles and those authors that you really like. And based off of what you've given it, it will give you recommendations of what you should try to read next. And the great thing about this vendor is it's also attached to our catalog, so you can immediately see if we own the title, and if we do, you can click it, place a hold, or immediately go to the library to pick it up. Or if we don't own it, you can quickly switch over into our website and request that we buy it for you. It's something you want to pursue. So it's a fantastic tool for people to find out, what their next great read will be. We've got it focused for adults, teens, and children. So there's different versions of this, depending on which age group you're interested in looking up titles for. And finally, of course, the library will be closed June 19th in observance of Juneteenth Day. And that concludes my report here. Did you have any questions for me?
Awesome. Thank you, Brian, for giving such a good insight and acumen to the functioning and all the reports. Really appreciate it. So after Cupertino Community Librarian, we have the County Librarian.
Right. Good evening, everyone. It's nice to be here with you. So I always love to follow Brian, who gives you a local input on everything happening here in Cupertino. Most specifically, obviously, it is all about summer. Obviously, the heat has arrived, so nice, cool place to come. And really, for us, it is about reading at all ages. So it is beneficial in relaxation, in intellectual knowledge, right, in just kind of that sharing. So we hope everyone signs up to read at least 5 books to win their prize. Additionally to the different things that we offer, having teens here tonight. So there are 2 contests coming up for teens this summer. One is a photography contest and the other is a bookmark contest. So kids ages 12 to 18 can go to our website and find out information about this and try your hand at drawing or taking some good pictures and submitting that. We love to showcase the creativity in the communities. In listening to all the different needs that people have, certainly I also wanted to highlight some of the things that we have in our online library. So we're so happy for the thousands of people who walk through our doors, and as Jean so capably noted, that it can sometimes be hard to get here. So we have a lot of things digitally. And one of the things I wanted to highlight tonight was BrainFuse. Now, many of you may have heard of BrainFuse because it is our online tutoring for children. Specifically, we thought, and then, it's for homework help. Well, it actually has career and job skills as well. People can submit their resumes, they can look at templates, it's in English and Spanish. So it really has this breadth of knowledge that people of all ages. If you're wondering how to use Excel, you can go online and take a virtual class through BrainFuse for that as well. So we really try to expand the offerings both in our buildings as well as online for all the things that people want to learn at the library. So we're excited to highlight BrainFuse this month. And virtual offer speak. I really think this is such a fun new program that we have offered. There's at least 3 to 4 a month. And again, you can just zoom in and see some really fantastic authors. This month we have Tiffany Jewell and Freedom Embedded. So I hope that you'll check out our website and be sure to join us virtually for some of those events as well. And that is my report. Happy to answer any questions, of course.
I have one question. Okay, I actually have a new immigration asking for the ESL conversation club. Actually, one day I come here, I saw so many people get in line try to get the program. And looks like a Cupertino library, this class in Cupertino library is very popular, right? So you need to register online.
Yes, that is true. You do have to register online. I do believe it's capped at, I want to say 50 or 60. That's the maximum we can take based off the number of volunteers we have who help run the groups.
Okay.
Yeah, that's part of the bottleneck beyond just having the space, is having the leads who can help kind of lead these conversations and help the group and practice their speaking skills.
So looks like the other library also offer this I saw the Milpitas,
Yes.
right? But it looks like it's not yet open for the Milpitas.
So we have two different programs in the district, the ESL program, which is a more formalized, and the conversation clubs.
Okay.
So the ESL is actually a curriculum that lasts, I want to say 9 months, 8 months possibly, and we do have several of those. So they actually just finished up for the year. They're kind of on an academic year similarly. And then the conversation clubs here.
It's Tuesdays, and it's just weekly.
It kind of rolls.
Yeah.
So you cannot just walk in. You have to register.
It's very rare to be able to walk in and find a seat. It would have to be like rainstorm outside. Like half the class didn't show up maybe, but for the most part, from what Ying tells me and what I've seen, it's pretty much always full. Yeah.
So that's two classes. One is ESL, one is conversation. That's separate, right?
The best way to think of it is one is more like formal learning, and the other is more casual conversation to practice the skills. And you don't have to come every week. Like if you can't come this week and you come next week, you just pick up right where you left off.
Okay. They are looking for some information like this. I think
Are you signing up for Conversation Club, or does it just roll depending on when there's available? Or
they sign up as well. Yeah.
Okay.
They sign up online.
Okay. So you can sign up weekly. So we could attach the link or something.
Yeah. Thank you. I can forward the information to them. Yeah.
Thank you, Jennifer. Thank you for that report. So for the next 3 sections, Friends of the Library, Cupertino Library Foundation, and Poet Laureate, I don't see any representation, so I'll go straight away to Staff and Commission report. So Molly, can I welcome you?
Sure. So first, I just want to give a quick update on our Poet Laureate. Keiko has graciously accepted our request to extend her term by 1 year. And that will give us time to work through the playbook, come up with something that we want to move forward with, and then do a new recruitment with that information. So beginning in July, I'll begin working on that project. Hopefully we will bring the first draft again in August, and then the second draft potentially in October. So that's a rough schedule. It may get pushed back depending on other priorities or requests. And then I have a whole slew of summer event updates. So I've got a lot. So if you have any questions, let me know from the Parks and Rec department. We've got our summer concert series, and that's Thursdays. It runs June 6th through August the 8th from 6 to 7:30 p.m. in the Memorial Park Amphitheater. We've got Disco at Dusk, which is an intergenerational event. That's Friday, June 21st from 6:30 to 8:30 p.m. Over here at Community Hall, and that does require advanced registration. We have our Independence Day celebration, which includes a pancake breakfast, a flag raising, a concert by Fill in the Blanks, and then for more detailed information, you can visit cupertino.gov/4th of July for all the specifics on those events. We have a Cupertino camp out, which is scheduled for Saturday, July 20th, and it's overnight, so you spend the night in the park, and so it ends on Sunday, July 21st at Creekside Park, and again, advanced registration is required. We have Shakespeare in the Park, which Toby was here and talked about. That's Saturday and Sunday, July 20th, 21st, 27th, 28th, and August 3rd and 4th. It starts at 6 p.m. in the Memorial Park Amphitheater. And then finally, to close out, we've got our Movies in the Park series, which is Friday, August 2nd through the 23rd at Creekside Park, and movies start at 8 o'clock. And all of that information is on our website or in the lovely recreation center. We've got props today.
Perfect. Just one question. What is this camp out like? Who can attend the camp? It's very interesting.
It's anybody. So we get mostly families. And you come and you bring a tent, and there's activities that the staff puts on. There's marshmallow roasting and kind of the typical camping experience for a lot of times that people maybe haven't had that camping experience. So it's a really fun event. We tried it a couple years ago for the first time. It was hugely successful. People loved it. And so now it's one of our annual events that we put
So
on.
2 things I understand. One is prior registration, and you have to bring your own tent, and you can put it in the Memorial Park anywhere?
It's not Memorial Park. I believe it's at Creekside Park.
Creekside,
Let me
I
just
see.
double check that. See if it's in here. Yep, Creekside Park. It's on the big fields at Creekside Park.
So you changed the location of that, right? It used to be at Memorial.
I think it's always been at Creekside.
That's what it's been.
I remember what year it was, but that's.
Recently? In the last
No,
few years?
not recently.
Because we have the ponds there for so long.
No, but it was done, oh, I'm sorry, it was done in back of Quinlan. It was done in back of Quinlan,
Wonderful.
where it was.
So you have your hands full the whole summer. There's so many things planned up.
Our department's very busy. Right?
Beautiful, lovely. Thank you, Molly. So let's invite now the commissions if they have anything to report. Commission plan? Commission is there? Anything? And also one question, Molly. When is the mayor meeting this month?
It's Wednesday, July 17th is the next one.
Is it in person or?
It's via Zoom.
Zoom, okay.
At 5 p.m. Are you able to attend?
Yes.
Great.
Sure. So I'll present my report on mayor meeting last month that we attended. So it was a very good conversation we had with mayor. There were a lot of questions of what's happening, and that's why I had put this idea that we'll bring teens and seniors to collaborate, because they all of them had represented in mayor's meeting, and they had wonderful input. And also one thing was technology team. Maybe we can connect with next time, because they are bringing AI and so many things, and we can do much more with them with library in collaboration. So going to mayor meeting and representing library and suggesting how we can collaborate with the different teams it was a good experience to have. And it was just a first step, but maybe next time we can go one step ahead, that we had teens and seniors, and we can think about other groups. There's cycling, there's health, there's housing for seniors. And there was a beautiful discussion on housing for seniors that with mayor, planning, and so many teams come there. So to learn their projects and how we can collaborate is a really is an eye opener for me. So that's all from my side. Okay, coming next, commission attendance at upcoming meetings and events. I believe I'll be going to mayor's meeting in the July one. Future agenda setting. So thank you, Molly, for connecting with teens, teen commission and senior commission. We would request in case if you can talk to other commissions as well, so that we can find out if there's any chance of collaborating with so many like technology or planning or housing or park and rec. So there's so many commissions who might need our help, and we might need it'll be a win-win for both. But I believe there's a process that only liaison, that you can talk to them on our behalf. So I'm so grateful to you that you to talk to two commissions, and if we can do more of such kind in future, that will bring us more worthwhile of our time and our working together with them. That will be greatly appreciated.
I really second that. I really appreciate that.
Thank you, Molly. I know it's a lot of extra work, but it's so much beneficial to everybody.
It's like connecting bridges.
Yes, exactly. So we had future agenda setting. So it's time for adjournment. Unless if anybody wants to have any comments or suggestions or something that they want to share with us before we adjourn for next. Is there something that we would like to say? Anybody? And finally, before adjourning, thank you ladies for joining us, for giving us your valuable input. Thank you ladies for coming. You're always welcome. Be it an agenda or not, we always would love to hear from you and to have you with us. So you can talk to other in your community also, and always welcome to, and let us know how we can be of help in future as well. And with this, I think
I've given you a lot to think about. And so what I would love to do is have perhaps a progress report on what you are able to accomplish among my asks. Because I realize some of it is you can do relatively easily, and other require rethinking. Particularly the reframing of your services and your approach, with older adults. There's a number of county organizations which are focused around this. And I'd like to see the library become an active part of it, rather than just, sort of off to the side as they have been.
Amen. So be it. But I believe it's an ongoing process, needs design and lot of consideration, because there's so many things. Brian and I believe Molly and Jennifer, we will be working with. They have so many things to take care of. But certainly this will be considered by their council. And I'm glad that you started. But it always takes time to implement different projects. So that's why we'll have more of your company.
we're not on the agenda topic.
Okay, sure. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. So let the meeting be adjourned to after 2 months. Thank you.
Okay.